What have you learned about conventions of magazine production and the progress that you made from Student Magazine? So the conventions for music productions is that there's a lot of research and planning. You have to look into other magazines, see what they've done, see the layout, draft and redraft several times until you have it looking right. Everything needs to be pretty much perfect down to the T. And the progress I made from my student magazines, I basically kind of didn't do any of that. For my student magazine, there was minimal drafting, minimal research and planning, and I didn't really follow much conventions of a magazine. I pretty much had a masthead and a headline, minimal cell lines. I didn't really put much planning into it. I used the same front cover, I used the same picture for my front cover and my content. I didn't have any sub images, I didn't experiment much. I've basically learned some production skills through my foundation portfolio, and I believe that I've made drastic progress, meaning I have done so much more planning and research, analysis, drafting, redrafting, getting feedback from teachers, peers, getting feedback from my target market, what they think about my magazine, if they'll buy it, questionnaires. I genuinely put so much effort into my final product, which I could have made from my student magazine. And if I could do my student magazine again, I would 100% draft, redraft. I would also practice using different softwares, because when I first did my student magazine, I only pretty much used PowerPoint or any Microsoft program. But if I could do it again, I would familiarise myself with Photoshop or InDesign to make my magazine just enhance it and make it more aesthetically pleasing. Do so much more research and planning. Just try to make the magazine the best product that can possibly be, and not just hand in something that I just drafted and planned for once. The journey that I had from my sketches to my final product was a very big journey. My first sketches, they didn't really look like a typical music magazine. Didn't have conventions in a music magazine. Because back then, I had just again done minimal research and planning. But as I started to make my magazine, put it together and construct it, I started to learn more conventions and more techniques that I can incorporate into my own magazine. And I was able to draft, redraft, do more research, do more analysis. And the more that I did research and analysis, the more that I redraft, the better the production process was. And I learned some Photoshop skills through practice and through redrafting magazines. The process that I went through to create my magazine was very long, very strenuous, but it was worth it. The fact that I have a product that I am very proud of. And this was all through excessive research, planning, drafting, repeat. I've asked my target audience for their opinions on my magazine, and most of them have said that it does look like a magazine that they would buy if it was actually in production. Most of my target audience gave a little bit of criticism and said that it does look too stereotypical, the colour scheme, some of the poses. If I could do it again, I wouldn't make everything so stereotypical and have such a harsh theme of red, black and white. I would incorporate maybe a fourth colour, something lighter, something brighter, something pink, green. I wouldn't make the poses so stereotypically rock, and I would have experimented more in-camera techniques and experimented with taking more sub-images for my magazine.